Hi everybody, welcome back. Today I wanted to carry on doing videos regarding the end of the age and fig tree generation. This video is the apocalypse of Abraham. It's probably going to take 2, maybe 3 videos to read it all, so I won't delay in reading it really. Before I start though, there is 2 translations on this website. The second one don't start just yet, but I did notice that they're worded quite differently, so I've left it so that they'll both be visible to you guys, but I'm only going to read from the left one, just to keep it simple. Yes, so the Apocalypse of Abraham belongs to a body of Abraham literature flourishing about the time of Christ. The book's essentially Jewish, wrote by George H. Box, with features which suggest Essene origin. From the Essenes it passed, he suggested, to Ebonite circles, and thence in some form found its way into Gnostic circles, though Gnostic elements in the book are not very pronounced. Dr. Hugh Nibley, Abraham of Egypt. So, without further ado. On the day I was guarding the gods of my father, Terah, and the gods of my brother, Nahor, while I was testing to find out which god is in truth the strongest. I, then, Abraham, at the time when my lot came, when I was completing the services of my father Terah's sacrifice to his gods of wood, of stone, of gold, of silver, of copper, and of iron, having entered the temple of the service, I found a god named Maramath, carved from stone, fallen at the feet of the iron god, Nakin. And it came to pass that when I saw it in my heart, it was perplexed, and I thought in my mind that I, Abraham, could not put it back in its place alone, because it was heavy, being made of stone. But I went and told my father, and he came in with me, and we both lifted it up to put it on its place, and its head fell off, even while I was holding it by its head. And it came to pass, when my father saw the head of this god Maramath had fallen, he said to me, Abraham. And I said, Here I am. And he said to me, Bring me the axes and the chisels from the house. And I brought them to him from the house. And he cut another Maramath from another stone, without a head, and he smashed the head that had fallen off Maramath, and the rest of Maramath. He made 5 other gods, and he gave them to me, and ordered me to sell them outside the town road. I saddled my father's ass, and loaded them on it, and went out to the highway to sell them. And behold, merchants from Fandana and Syria, were coming with camels on their way to Egypt to buy crocodile from the Nile. I asked them a question, and they answered me. I walked along and conversed with them. One of their camels screamed. The ass took fright and ran away and threw off the gods. 3 of them were crushed, and 2 remained intact. And it came to pass that when the Syrians saw that I had gods, they said to me, Why did you not tell us that you had gods? We would have brought them before the ass heard the camel's voice, and you have had no loss. Give us at least the gods that remain, and we will give you a suitable price. I considered it in my heart, and I paid both for the smashed gods and the gods which remained. For I had been grieving in my heart how I would bring payment to my father. I threw 3 broken gods into the water of the river Gur, which was in this place. And they sank to the depths of the river Gur, and were no more. As I was still walking on the road, my heart was disturbed and my mind was distracted. I said in my heart, What is the inequality of activity which my father is doing? Is it not he rather who is God for his gods? Because they come into being from his sculpting, his planning, and his skill. They ought to honour my father because they are his work. What is this food of my father in his works? Behold, Maramath fell and could not stand up in his sanctuary, nor could I myself lift him until my father came and we raised him up. And even so were we not able to do it, and his head fell off of him. And he put it on another stone of another god, which he made without a head. And the other 5 gods which got smashed in falling from the arse who could not save themselves and injure the house because it smashed them, nor did their shards come up out of the river. And I said in my heart, if it is so, how then can my father's God, Maremoth, which is the head of another stone, and which is made from another stone, save a man, or heart a man's prayer, or give him any gift? And thinking thus, I came to my father's house, and I watered the ass, and I gave him hay, and I took out the silver, and I placed it in the hand of my father Terah. And when he saw it, he was glad, and he said, You are blessed, Abraham, by the gods of my gods, since you have brought me the price for the gods, so that my labour was not in vain. And answering, I said to him, Listen, Father Terah, the gods are blessing in you, because you are a God for them, because you made them. For their blessing is perdition, and their power is vain. They did not help themselves. How then can they help you or bless me? I was good for you in this transaction, for though through my good sense I brought you the silver for the smashed gods. And when he heard my speech, he became furiously angry with me, because I had spoken harsh words against his gods. But having pondered my father's anger, I went out afterwards. When I had gone out, he called me, saying, Abraham. And I said, Here I am. And he said, Up, gather wood chips, for I was making gods from fir before you came, and prepare with them food for my midday meal. And it came to pass, when I was choosing the wood chips, I found among them a small god, which would fit in my left hand. And on his forehead was written, God, Barisat. And it came to pass, when I put the chips in the fire in order to prepare the food for my father, and going out to inquire about the food, I put Barisat near the enkindling fire, saying to him threateningly, Barisat, watch that the fire does not go out. Before I come back, if the fire goes out, blow on it so it flares up. I went out and made my counsel, and when I returned I found that Barisat had fallen on his back, his feet enveloped by the fire and burning fiercely. And it came to pass, when I saw, I laughed and said to myself, Barisat, truly you know how to light a fire and cook food. And it came to pass, while saying this in my laughter, I saw that he burned up slowly from the fire and became ashes, and carried the food to my father to eat. I gave him wine and milk, and drank and enjoyed himself. And he blessed Maremoth his god. I said to him, Father Terah, do not bless Maremoth your god, do not praise him. Praise rather Barisat your god, because as though loving you, he threw himself into the fire in order to cook your food. And he said to me, Then where is he now? And I said, He has burned in the fierceness of the fire and become dust. And he said, Great is the power of Barisat. And I will make another today and tomorrow, and he will prepare my food. When I, Abraham, heard the words like this from my father, I laughed in my mind, and I groaned in the bitterness and anger of my soul. And I said, How then is a figment of a body made by him, Terah, an aid for my father? Or can he have subordinate his body to his soul to his spirit, and his spirit to stupidity and ignorance? And I said, It is only proper to endure evil, that I may throw my mind to purity, and I will expose my thoughts clearly to him. I answered and said, Father Terah, whichever of these gods you extol, you err in your thought. Behold, the gods of my brother Nahor, standing in the holy sanctuary, are more venerable than yours. For behold, Zocheos, my brother Nahor's god, is even more venerable than your god Maremoth, because he is made of gold, valued by man. And if he grows old with time, he will be remoulded, whereas Maremoth, if he is changed or broken, he will not be renewed, because he is stone. What about Ioov, the god on the other god, who stands with Zocheos? For he is also more venerable than the god Barisat. He is carved from wood and forged from silver, because he too is a term of comparison, being valued by man according to external experience. But Barasat, your God, when he was still not carved, rooted in the earth, being great and wondrous, with branches and flowers and praise. But you made him with an axe, and by your skill he was made a god. And behold, he has already dried up, and his fatness is perished. He fell from the height to the earth. He came from greatness to smallness, and the appearance of his face wasted away. And he himself was burned up by the fire, and he became ashes, and is no more. And you say, let me make another, and tomorrow he will make my food for me. But in perishing he left himself no strength for his own destruction. This I say, fire is more venerable in formation, for even the unsubdued things are subdued in it, and it mocks that which perishes easily by means of its burning. But neither is it venerable, for it is subject to the waters, but rather the waters is more venerable than it, fire, because they overthrow the fire and sweeten the earth with fruits. But I will not call them God either, for the waters subdue it under the earth, and are subject to it. But I will not call it a goddess either, for it is dried by the sun, and subordinate to man for his work. More venerable among the gods, I say, is the sun, for with its rays it illuminates the whole universe and the various airs. Nor will I place among the gods the one who obscures this course by means of the moon and the clouds. Nor again shall I call the moon or the stars gods, because they too at times during night dim their light. Listen, Terah, my father, I shall seek before you the God who created all the gods supposed by us to exist. For who is it? Or which one is made the heavens crimson and the sun golden? Who has given light to the moon and the stars with it? Who has dried the earth in the midst of the many waters? Who set you yourself among the things, and who has sought me in the perplexity of my thoughts? I only God will reveal himself by himself to God. Sorry? That didn't make sense. God will reveal himself by himself to us. And it came to pass, as I was thinking things like these with regard to my father Terah, in the court of my house, the voice of the Mighty One came down from the heavens in a stream of fire, saying and calling, Abraham, Abraham. And I said, Here I am. And he said, Your searching of the God of gods is the Creator in the understanding of your heart. I am he. Go out from Terah, your father, and go out of your house, that you too not be slain in the sins of your father's house. And it came to pass, when I went out, I was not yet outside the entrance of the court, that the sound of a great thunder came down, and burned him and his house, and everything in his house, down to the ground, 40 cubits. Then a voice came to me twice, Abraham, Abraham. And I said, Here I am. And he said, Behold, it is I. Fear not. For I am before the world, and mighty, the God who created previously before the light of the age. I am the protector for you. I am your helper. Go, get me a 3-year-old heifer, a 3-year-old she-goat, and a 3-year-old ram, a turtle dove, and a pigeon. And make me a pure sacrifice, and in this sacrifice I will place the ages. I will announce to you the guarded things, and you will see great things which you have not seen. Because you desired to search for me, and I called you my beloved. For 40 days abstain from every kind of food cooked by fire, and from drinking of wine, and from anointing yourself with oil. And then you shall set out for me the sacrifice which I have commanded you, in the place which I will show you, on the high mountain. And there I will show you the things which were made in the ages, and by my word, and affirmed, created, and renewed. And I will announce to you in them what will come upon these who have done evil, and just things in the race of man. And it came to pass, when I heard the voice pronouncing such words to me, that I looked this way and that, and behold, there was no breath of man. My spirit was amazed. My soul fled up from me, and I became like a stone. And I fell face down upon the earth, for there was no longer strength in me to stand upon the earth. While I was still face down on the ground, I heard the voice speaking, Go, Ahoel, the same name, through the mediation of my ineffable name. Consecrate this man for me, and strengthen him against his trembling. The angel he sent to me in the likeness of man came, and he took me by my right hand, and stood me on my feet, and said to me, Stand up, Abraham, friend of God, who has loved you. Let human trembling not unfold you, for lo, I am sent to strengthen you, and to bless you in the name of God, creator of heavenly and earthly things, who has loved you. Be bold and hasten to him. I am Aoel, and I was called so by him, who causes those with me in the seventh expanse of the firmament to shake a power through the medium of his ineffable name in me. I am the one who has been charged according to his commandment to restrain the threats in the living creatures of the cherubim against one another. And I teach those who carry the song through the medium of man's night of the seventh hour. I am appointed to hold the Leviathans, because through me is subjugated the attack and menace of every reptile. I am ordered to loosen Hades and to destroy those who wonder at the dead. I am the one who ordered your father's house to be burned with him, for he honoured the dead. I am sent to you now to bless you in the land which whom you have called the Eternal One has prepared for you. For your sake I have indicated the way of the land. Stand up, Abraham, go boldly, be very joyful, and rejoice. And I also rejoice with you, for a venerable honour has been prepared for you by the Eternal One. Go, complete the sacrifice of the command. Behold, I am assigned to be with you, and with the generation which is predestined to be born from you. And with me Michael blesses you forever. Be bold, go. I stood up, and I saw him who had taken my right hand and set me on my feet. The appearance of his body was like a sapphire, and the aspect of his face was like chrysolite, and the hair of his head was like snow, and a cadaris was on his head. Its look was a rainbow, and the clothing of his garments was purple. The golden staff was in his right hand. And he said to me, Abraham. And I said, Here is your servant. And he said, Let my appearance not frighten you, nor my speech trouble your soul. Come with me, and I will go with you, visible until the sacrifice, but after the sacrifice, invisible forever. Be bold and go. And we went, the two of us together, 40 days and nights. And I ate no bread and drank no water, because my food was to see the angel who was with me, and his discourse with me was my drink. We came to God's mountain, glorious Horeb. And I said to the angel, singer of the Eternal One, Behold, I have no sacrifice with me, nor do I know a place for an altar on the mountain. So how shall I make the sacrifice? And he said, Look behind you. And I looked behind me, and behold, all the prescribed sacrifices were following us, the calf, the she-goat, the ram, the turtle-dove, and the pigeon. The angel said to me, Abraham. And I said, Here I am. And he said to me, Slaughter all these, and divide the animals exactly into halves, but do not cut the birds apart. Give them to the men who I will show you standing beside you. For they are the altar on the mountain, to offer sacrifice to the Eternal One. The turtle-dove and the pigeon you give to me, for I will send on the wings of the birds, to show you what is in the heavens, on the earth, and in the sea, and the abyss, and the lower depths, in the Garden of Eden, and its rivers, and the fullness of the universe. And you will see its circles in all. And I did everything according to the angel's command. And I gave the angel who had come with us the divided parts of all the animals. And the angel Ioel looked at the two birds. Took the two birds. And I waited for the evening gift. And an unclean bird flew down on the carcasses, and I drove it away. And the unclean bird spoke to me and said, "What are you doing, Abraham? On the holy heights where no one eats or drinks, nor is there upon them food for men, but all these will be consumed by fire. They will burn you up. Leave the man who is with you and flee, for if you ascend to the height, they will destroy you." And it came to pass, I saw the bird speaking, and I said this to the angel, "What is this, my lord?" And he said, "This is disgrace, this is Azazel." And he said to him, "Shame on you, Azazel, for Abraham's portion is in heaven, and yours is on the earth, for you have selected here, and become enamoured of the swelling place of your blemish. Therefore the eternal ruler, the mighty one, has given you a dwelling on earth. Through you the all evil spirit is a liar, and through you are wrath and trials on the generations of men who live impiously. For the eternal mighty one did not allow the bodies of the righteous to be in your hand, so through them the righteous life is affirmed, and the destruction of ungodliness. Here, counselor, be shamed by me. You have no permission to tempt all the righteous. Depart from this man. You cannot deceive him, because he is the enemy of you, and of those who follow you, and who love what you wish. For behold, the garment which is heaven is formerly yours has been set aside for him, and the corruption which was on him has gone over to you. The angel said to me, "Abraham," and I said, "Here I am, your servant." And he said, "Know from this that the Eternal One, who you have loved, has chosen you. And be bold and do through your authority whatever I order you against him who reviles justice. Will I not be able to revile him who has scattered about the earth the secrets of heaven, and who has taken counsel against the Mighty One? Say to him, may you be the firebrand and the furnace of earth. Go, Azazel, in the untrodden parts of the earth, for your heritage is over those who are with you, and the stars with the men born by the clouds, whose portions you are. Indeed, they exist for your being. Enmity is for you a pious act. Therefore, through your own destruction, be gone from me." And I said the words as the angel taught me. And he said, "Abraham." And I said, "Here I am, your servant." And the angel said to me, "Answer him not." And he spoke to me a second time. And the angel said, "Now, whatever he says to you, answer him not, lest his will run up to you. For the Eternal Mighty One gave him the gravity and the will. Answer him not." And I did what the angel had commanded me. And whatever he said to me about the descent, I answered him not. And it came to pass when the sun was setting, and behold, a smoke like that of a furnace, and the angels who had divided the portions of the sacrifice ascended from the top of the furnace of smoke. And the angel took me with his right hand, and set me on the right wing of the pigeon, and he himself sat on the left wing of the turtle dove, both of which were as of neither slaughtered nor divided. And he carried me up to the edge of the fiery flames, and he ascended as if carried by many winds to the heaven that is fixed on the expanses. And I saw in the air, to those height which he ascended, a strong light which cannot be described. And behold, this is a fiery Gehenna. This light, a fiery Gehenna, was enkindled, and a great crowd in the likeness of men. They are all changing in aspect and shape, running and changing form, and prostrating themselves, and crying words I did not know. And I said to the angel, "Why is it you now brought me here? For now I can no longer see, because I am weakened, and my spirit is departing from me." And he said to me, "Remain with me, do not fear." Him whom you will see coming directly towards us in a great sound of sanctification is the Eternal One who has loved you. You will not look at him himself, but let your spirit not weaken, for I am with you, strengthening you. While he was still speaking, behold, the fire coming towards us round about, and a voice was in the fire like a voice of many waters, like a voice of sea in its uproar. And the angel knelt down with me and worshipped, and I wanted to fall face down on the earth. And the place of highness on which we were standing now stopped on high, now rolled down low. And he said, Only worship, Abraham, and recite the song which I taught you. Since there was no ground to which I could fall prostrate, I only bowed down and recited the song which he taught me. And he said, Recite without ceasing, and I recited, and he himself recited the song. Eternal One, Mighty One, Holy El, God, Autocrat, Self-originate, Incorruptible, Immaculate, Unbegotten, Spotless, Immortal, Self-perfected, Self-devised, without mother, without father, ungenerated, exalted, fiery, just, lover of men, benevolent, compassionate, bountiful, jealous over me, patient one, most merciful, Eli, eternal, mighty one, holy Sabbath, most glorious, El, IOL. You are he my soul has loved, my protector, eternal, fiery, shining, light-giving, thunder-voiced, lightning-visioned, many-eyed, receiving the petitions of those who honour you, and turning away from the petitions of those who restrain you by the restraints of their provocations. Redeemer of those who dwell in the midst of the wicked ones, of those who are dispersed among the just of the world, in the corruptible age. Showing forth the age of the just, you make the light shine before the morning light upon your creation, from your face, to spend the day on the earth. And in your heavenly dwelling place, and there is an inextinguishable light of an invincible dawning from the light of your face. Accept my prayer and delight in it, and accept also the sacrifice which you yourself made to yourself through me as I searched for you. Receive me favourably, teach me, show me, and make known to your servant what you have promised me. And as I was still reciting the song, the mouth of the fire which was on the firmament was rising up on high. And I heard a voice like the roaring of the sea, and it did not cease from the plenitude of the fire. And as the fire rose up, soaring in the highest point, I saw under the fire a throne of fire, and many-eyed ones round about, reciting the song. Under the throne 4 fiery living creatures singing. And the appearance of each of them was the same, each having 4 faces, and this was the aspect of their faces, of a lion, of a man, of an ox, and of an eagle. And each one had 4 heads, and on its body, so as the 4 living creatures had 16 faces. And each one had 6 wings, 2 on the shoulders, 2 halfway down, 2 on the lions. With the wings which were on the shoulders, they covered their faces. With the wings at their loins, they covered their feet. And they would stretch the 2 middle wings out and fly, erect. And when they finished singing, they would look at one another and threaten one another. And it came to pass when the angel who was with me saw that they were threatening each other, and he left me and went running to them. And he turned the face of each living creature from the face of it was opposite it, so that they could not see each other's faces, threatening each other. And he taught them the song of peace, with the Eternal One as in himself. And while I was standing and watching, I saw behind the living creatures a chariot with fiery wheels. Each wheel was full of eyes round about, and about the wheels was the throne which I had seen, and it was covered with fire. Fire encircled it round about. An indescribable light was surrounding the fiery cloud. And I heard the voice of the sanctification, like a voice of a singing man. And a voice came out from me in the midst of the fire, saying, Abraham, Abraham. And I said, Here I am. And he said, Look at the expanses under the firmament, to which you have now been directed, and see that on no single expanse is there any other, but the one whom you have searched for, who has loved you. And while he was still speaking, behold, the expanses under me, the heavens opened, and I saw the seventh firmament upon which I stood a fire spread about, and a light and the dew, and a multitude of angels, and a host of invisible glory. And up above the living creatures I had seen, I saw no one else there. And I looked from on high, and I was standing downward to the sixth firmament, and I saw the multitude of spiritual angels, incorporeal, carrying out the orders of the fiery angels, who were on the eighth firmament. And I was standing on its elevation, and lo, neither on this firmament was there any shape or any other host, but only the spiritual angels. And the host I saw on the seventh firmament commanded the sixth firmament, and removed itself. And there I saw in the fifth firmament a host of stars, and the orders they were commanded to carry out, and the elements of the earth obeying them. So I suppose I could end there for the first part of it. I think there'll only be one more part. So I hope you enjoyed that, and yeah, I'll do the second part soon. Thanks for listening. God bless.